It's Tuesday, November 23rd, and you're tuned in to a little less than 30 minutes left of the link here on Breeze 93.9 FM, brought to you by Pacific Points, ITN Calvo Enterprises, and Jack in the Box. Hey, we're also streaming on Facebook Live. You can be watching us. Head on over to the website, Facebook, obviously. We're also on Channel 10. So you can watch us on the television. Sabrina Salas Matanani, Jason Salas, and myself, Tyler Matanani, filling in for Chris Barnett. Good morning, Jace.
Good morning, and as we do each and every Tuesday, it's time for Hafa Health Tips, brought to us by the very concerned and compassionate, friendly folks over at FHP. And we have one of their physicians right now, Dr. Edna Santos, who returned to FHP after some time off. So Dr. Santos, Hafa Day, welcome to the link and welcome home.
Hi, good morning.
It's so good to see you. It's especially on Thanksgiving week, because this is a time when, of course, everybody thinks about maybe a little, justifiable gluttony and things like that. So, we want to eat responsibly. We want to make sure we're getting our exercise and being healthy. But the topic we're talking about today, as you are a pediatrician, is pre-diabetes in children. And Doc, I have a smidge of experience with this, because my first experience with diabetes overall was I had a classmate in the 8th grade. And her name was Jennifer, and she was really nice. But I remember every fourth period before class begins, she would always disappear. And she said, I have to go to the nurse's office. And she'd always come back, and then she'd have like a little Band-Aid on. Sometimes she'd feel like a little loopy, a little dizzy. And then she was explaining to us in her peer group what diabetes was and what pre-diabetes is. So what is pre-diabetes when it comes to the younger members of our community?
Well, pre-diabetes is when your blood sugar is higher than normal, but not enough to be called diabetes. Consider it as a warning sign for diabetes. Mm-hmm. Most people think that children only get the type 1 diabetes, the one your friend had, the juvenile diabetes. That's when they don't make insulin and they have to get the shot for insulin. Mm-hmm. Okay? But now we have type 2 diabetes, which was considered before as adult onset diabetes. Mm-hmm. And children are getting it now because of the high rate of obesity, that we're having diagnosis of our children with pre-diabetes or type 2 diabetes, early onset.
And now, so if pre-diabetes, as you say, we can consider that like a warning signal and everything like that, does this indicate that it may be reversed, or we can actually halt the onset of what might become diabetes?
Yes, definitely. That's why we want you to screen the kids for diabetes.
Okay, so when actually should that start, and what is the optimal age to get your child screened?
The optimal age really is if they're overweight or obese, it's when they're pubertal stage. But if they're really having high risk factors, we can start as 10 to 11 years old. But usually the average is 13 years old.
Mm-hmm. Is this part of a normal doctor's checkup and part of the workup and everything? Because I never got screened for pre-diabetes when I was a child, and actually diabetes does run on my dad's side of the family. So in the modern day, is this part of a doctor's whole workup of a young person?
Yes, definitely. When you do your yearly physical, we screen you, we check your vision, your hearing, we give you your shots. We also check for your risk for diabetes.
Mm-hmm. And it's I would assume such a important disease to watch out for, because when you're a young person, obviously, I'm preaching to the choir here to a pediatrician, but the body continues to develop at a rapid pace, and you're burning so many calories, and mentally, physically, you're still developing. What are some of the risk factors, if a young person should develop pre-diabetes?
Well, one risk factor is just the family history of diabetes. And we have a lot of that in our population. 2, that dark skin we see on the neck and the armpit, the papa, we call that acanthosis nigricans. I tell my patient, no matter how much you scrub, that's not going to go away unless you lose weight. That's an indication that you inherited the genes for diabetes, or your body is in a hyperinsulinemic state, meaning you're forming a lot of insulin to keep your blood sugar normal. Then the third is if your mom told you, when I was pregnant with you, I had gestational diabetes, that means your mom and you are at risk for diabetes.
And how common is gestational diabetes, doctor, with women in our part of the world and with our cultures here?
Common, unfortunately.
Mm.
Yes. And then the third is our race. Just being a Pacific Islander, that's already a risk for us, including Native Americans and Afro Americans. We are already considered a high risk. And lastly, being sedentary. If you're not exercising or you're not active, then that puts you at a risk. There are also some diseases that are associated with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian disease. If you have these diseases, you need to probably be screened for prediabetes or diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Now, what should parents know, Doc, when it comes to hopefully getting preventive maintenance even before the pre-diabetes screening? Like, what should they be doing with with their children as far as like encouraging to go play outside and to eat at set times and to make sure you eat in moderation and eat the right things? Are those some of the things that we should do?
Yes, I always quote, prevention is always the best medicine, and knowledge is power. So if you know that you're pre-diabetic, you have the family history, I want my patients to say, I did everything to prevent diabetes.
Mm-hmm. And this is not, a jail sentence and everything. Even if you have family history and everything, you can reverse this. It can be controlled, and it can be, even in some cases, halted, right?
Definitely. And that's what we want. We want you to start early with your children, make them aware. Your goal is to start making small changes, but to give them a healthy lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Is diabetes, Doc, more prevalent on Guam? Again, with the various ethnic groups, and Guam is such a diverse, melting pot of cultures here. But is it more prevalent in young boys or young girls?
More common in girls.
In girls, okay.
Yes.
Is there anything that the parents have to know about the way they raise their young girls and everything like that, if they want to make sure that they do?
It's really because of our hormones too, but also girls here are more sedentary than the boys, maybe. And but later on in life, it kind of balances. All the boys and girls get the diabetes, especially if it's in your family history.
Okay. Now, I know you don't have to diagnose me, Doc, but I'm already proof positive because I've been told many, many times by medical doctors as yourself, as well as psychologists, that I can't keep still. So when you say that, that young girls are more sedentary, like, I'm proof positive of that.
Well, we love that. I hope most of the girls are the type who can keep still and move around.
Burn off some of that energy, right?
Yeah. So you need to start teaching your kids to prevent diabetes. Mm-hmm. So I would say, number one, set good examples. You can't tell a child, stop eating when you're eating, right? Mm-hmm. You have to start drinking water, lots of water. Stop buying those sugary drinks. Do you know soda? Regular soda has 15 teaspoons of sugar. Your iced tea has 7 to 9 teaspoons of sugar. Mm-hmm. So you need to promote water. And if they don't like water, find natural ways to make it taste better. You can put lemon, cucumber, mint, instead of buying the artificially flavored juices.
Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm sure I can assume that you would advocate making this like a family activity, and parents should talk to their kids about, even if they don't have a history of diabetes in their lineage and everything, you should probably say, hey, I want you to grow up and not be healthy. This is something you could possibly develop if you don't take care of yourself.
Yes, and if you buy the juice, they're going to drink it because it's available. Mm-hmm. So you control what the food you buy at home for your kids.
Now, real quick, Doc, what is a good food? Because, again, we're talking about young people, and, there's always peer pressure of school, and, I have to get good grades. What are some foods that young people can eat that are conducive to having good study habits and being able to retain things like that? Because so many people just think, oh, okay, I'll just down a huge cup of coffee, or I'll eat like a candy bar because it's quick energy, and, it's all sugar and everything. Are there fruits or foods that we should be eating to perform better in school?
Yes, unfortunately, there are some people, we have a population who can't eat, they don't have food at home. Mm-hmm. So it's so nice that our schools provide food for them, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But you don't want to give them too high sugary drinks because it makes them sleepy, and then the blood sugar becomes erratic throughout the day. So you want to give them healthy food. I'm not saying don't give sugar at all because sometimes they want a break and they want that treat, right? But at least try to stay away from those super refined sugars and carbs.
Okay.
No, no, if you eat a donut for breakfast, you're going to be sleepy after that.
Exactly. Now, one of my coworkers just had a donut for breakfast in this room. So, um,
You see,
now I was mentioning coffee earlier, Doug. Now, so many young people that I know, my coworkers' kids, that they have a tendency to really have an affinity for coffee. If Do you say coffee is good for young people, and if so, like what kinds, or should they just take like straight black coffee or certain types of coffee?
I coffee for adults, maybe 1 cup in the morning to get you up is fine. You don't need to put sugars and lots of milk in it. But for kids, do you know that even soda, iced tea, and coffee, they all have caffeine? So you think you're giving iced tea? Iced tea has lots of sugar, it has sodium and caffeine. So why are you giving that? So I don't advocate coffee for young kids. They think, oh, frappe is fun. Let's drink it. 250 calories in there with caffeine. Not good. Then they get stomach upset because of the caffeine.
Yeah, healthy choices lead to healthy you. Okay, Doc, I'd like to give you some final thoughts about what parents and children themselves can do, what they should know about prediabetes.
Well, first you have to prevent it. So drink lots of water. Portion control is number 2. If you want one slice of cake, you can divide it into among 3 people. You don't have to eat the whole plate. If you order food, you can eat half and put away the other half. Involve your kids in activities, make them plan, make them do YouTube videos of healthy food preparations, teach them how to read the sugar content in their drinks, and then limit screen time. Let them find games that require movement, make them dance. That Pokemon Go, They were out looking for Pokemon outside. Be active as a family and make your favorite food at home a healthy food. You think, oh, let's eat ice cream. Why not yogurt, right? Just try to give them a food they like. That's gonna be their favorite, but something healthy. We're so blessed here in Guam. We have a beautiful island. We have beautiful weather. We can go out and do memories with our families. I remember flying kites and throwing frisbees at it's at Asan. When kids are having fun, like biking, hiking, they don't think it's exercise. But if they're interested, promote exercise. And lastly, bring your children for the physical once a year so that you know where your children stand. Because you want to know where they are in the growth chart, their body mass index, and if the family has a high risk and they see all those signs like the dark skin on the neck, we can do the screening here.
All right. Well, Dr. Edna Santos, thank you so much over at FHP Health Center. We really appreciate the insight. And boys and girls, you heard it right there. Doctor's orders. Go play Pokemon Go. That's from the doctor herself.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Doc. And happy holidays to you and your family and your team over there at FHP.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. And please stay tuned, everybody.